This is the review for Robot Masters Victory Leo. This review is my first impression on the figure. When I finally make up my mind and I come to a conclusion about what I really think about this figure, I'll make an updated video explaining my reasons for why I think what I think about it. It may be something that I just haven't found yet that really charms me or pisses me off. It may be a structural problem that I run into down the line that's not obvious now. Whatever it is, I will follow up this video with any information possible that will add to the value of me having reviewed this. Now onto the figure itself. It is a robotic lion, and a very tiny robotic lion. I don't really like this alt mode very much, because it's just too small to carry the wow factor that Victory Leo really needs to have. The charm and magic of the original figure, this is a scaled down version of Victory Leo, this figure just doesn't have any of that charm or shelf presence. Now it comes with this gun here, which has a missile that fires very easily. I've already lost it several times. These two red and gray guns on his back, and this little yellow gun, which doesn't really have a place to store in beast mode. The articulation, it's okay, especially since it's basically a scaled down G1 figure. The four legs go forward and back, out at the shoulder, and he has an elbow. The head can look up and down, but it makes a pretty bad gap. The wings can move up and down. Honestly, the wings are what I like most about this figure, because they look nice. The hind legs can move forward and back, and they can also move up and down like this at the abdomen. And this is probably the most interesting bit of articulation this mode has. But and as cool as it potentially could be, it's hard to get anything to look natural with this joint, so it doesn't pan out as well as it could. The one problem I really do have with this mode is that you can see there's a big gap there because these legs are too thick up in here to really stay together well. What you have to do is you have to pull apart up here, and then they kind of stay until you press up here on accident, which you will do when you grab this figure, and it's just annoying. I can live with it, but I wish I didn't have to. To transform this figure, you stand it up. And I'm sure you can see where everything else is for this robot mode. There's a head, these will turn to the arms, these will telescope out and form the legs. Actually, I wish I hadn't told you that, because now the transformation is spoiled. There are no surprises. Fold these down, get the fists. And there's the robot mode. It's a nice looking robot mode. It looks like Victory Leo, who is a very nice looking robot. But it's not impressive because it just doesn't have the size this figure really needs to be anything more than a boring piece of plastic. The articulation is a bit better than in beast mode, but not by much. The arms are about the same, forward and back, out the shoulder, and there's an elbow. Head, about the same, even that horrible gap right there. Legs can move forward and back, and they can move out, although if you move them too far out, it looks very ugly. And you can move the toe. Although I've yet to find a reason to do that. Now as for weapons, he has these three guns on his back. And he has this yellow gun. The yellow gun can fit in his fist. The red and gray guns fit on his wrists. and the gray gun fits on a little slot on his side. It's a cool idea what this does, but it just gets in the way of his right arm too much for my taste. And also it's very easy to accidentally shoot the missile when it's like this. And honestly, this is kind of impressive, just how many guns this thing actually has. It's, apart from the wings, one of the other few things I like about this. Now, as far as the established play patterns of this figure alone, or designed play patterns, it's kind of boring. With Victory Saber, with which this figure combines, it might be a bit better. But, in just messing around with this thing for a couple hours, I found something that wasn't intended, at least I don't think so, but it's actually quite neat, and might even be a reason to buy the figure. I don't know, I mean, maybe I'm just rationalizing because this figure is a little bit of a disappointment, but who knows. What you do is you start disassembling this figure as though you were making Victory Saber with Victory Leo and Star Saber. Then with the bottom part, you fold up the feet most of the way, like this. And this is a fan mode I'm showing you, by the way. Then you rotate up the legs, collapse them in, and peg them in up here. This is how you make Victory Saber's boots, by the way. Well, most of how you do it. And then split this apart a little bit, flip up this, and flip up this. You'll notice I'm keeping these together, and that's because I'm a stickler for perfect transformation wherever I can find it. Then turn it around, and you get something that looks vaguely like a super robot drill tank. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, I don't quite know how to explain it, but a lot of Japanese series, like especially older ones, or even Gal Gai Gar, the legs are typically of a giant combiner mecha are typically made out of drill machines or drill tanks that don't really look like anything except for folded up legs. And that's sort of the impression I get from this, and I like it. Not because I particularly like the idea of a nameless vehicle that's designed just so it can look up like folded up legs, but it's a nice unintentional homage to that. And then with this part, which is just the chest, what I like to do is straighten out the arms, straighten out the wings, and then just start loading every single weapon onto this. I like putting this gray thing in as a main cannon. Also sort of makes it look like it has a nose, which is something that sort of lacks from this fan mode. And then you can put this wherever you like. And here you have a pretty neat looking fictional combiner jet. And these two fan modes are really the things I like about this set, just because they really evoke super robot bullshit vehicles to me. And they don't look that bad either. So while the figure itself, as just Victory Leo in his beast mode and robot mode, is not that great, and while you need Star Saber to make Victory Saber to get the planned play pattern out of this ability split apart, I do really like these unintentional bullshit Japanese super robot combiner vehicle forms. There's just a certain charm to them that the rest of the figure lacks. And that's all. Thanks for watching.